So that's our data exposed to consuming applications. The next thing that we're going to do is to allow a user to actually to request the schema. And the schema is the thing I've mentioned a number of times before. This is how a calling application can determine what our particular SData provider implements in terms of a contract. A lot of the contracts are sort of quite rich in terms of the amount of information which they provide or can provide. But not all applications will implement every single resource kind or every single property of every single resource kind. So the schema is the way in which the consumer will be able to request the information from this particular adapter and say, what do you provide? So fortunately that's really easy with the SIF. I'm just going to come back here into our request handler, and I'm going to again have another request path that we're going to use. So this time we're going to call it schema path, and the actual path that responds to is $schema. $schema is a defined, well-known path in SData protocol itself. Again, for full information on that, you can go to the SData website, and I'll provide links at the end of the video for that. So now that we've got that path, we just need to do something very similar to as we did before. We need another method in here that's going to be called into by the SIF when asking for our schema. So this time we'll give it the get request target of schema path. So again, we're just going to decorate it with the same attribute, just happen to have a different path. And this time it's going to be we're going to return a string, because what's being asked for is an XSD file. So we're just going to return that as a string simply for simplicity's sake. And we'll call this get schema. Now in here all we're going to do is return, so we're going to take metadata manager, which again is a helper class in the Sage integration framework, and that's in Sage Common Metadata, and we're going to use that and we're going to call get schema on that. Schema. A schema takes, there's some overloaded methods for this, and it takes either a type or an array of types, or an array of types and some namespace information. Here we're just going to give it the simple type that we've created, which is the trading account feed entry. So we'll just pass in the type of trading account feed entry. Now that's all we need to do to return the schema. So I'll just build that. And again, build succeeded, no problems. So if we now go back to our web browser and we issue a $schema request, this is called into our adapter, into that same into that method we've just created there. And you can see this is where all of the rich metadata information that we've been providing earlier on. So this is where you start to see the real benefit of doing this by implementing a handful of attributes and providing a little bit of metadata information. The SIF is able to generate this all this information dynamically. And it's particularly useful as you know, if you've got a lot of objects that you want to expose, or a lot of resource kinds that you want to expose. You don't have to do a lot of the donkey work of producing this metadata information. So that's a schema request. A call application can now come in here. They can discover that we implement the trading account feed entry. They can see that they can get them, but they can't post them. They can put them, but they can't delete them, so on and so forth. A lot of rich information in there. So a consuming application now is able to discover that we exposed our data sets. They can discover what resource kinds and what attributes of resource kinds we expose. They can request information and return that in a useful format that they can easily consume.